Yeah, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Matthew Maley from MatthewMaley.com. Want to do a quick video. Just got done playing in a poker tournament, so wanted to do a poker recap video, especially since I haven't been on the felt too much very often lately. So I want to get back up on it and start posting some more videos about it. So just got done playing in event 2 of the Arizona Poker Tour. For those of you who don't know, Arizona Poker Tour has been running for 14 seasons. Usually gets between 30 and 45 people. They run 2 seasons a year, so it's been going on for about, this is the 7th year, I believe. How they set it up is they run 5 events, and the winner of each one of the events, as well as the next 5 highest scoring people in points, which obviously they give points based on your finish in the tournament, all get to play a final table, which is kind of a free roll, and the first 2 players of that get to split the final winnings. Now, how they do it is buy-in's $25 with rebuys for the first 5 levels, and 20 of the dollars goes directly to that night's pool, while $5 goes towards the season-ending event. And it's cool because you can get a decent first place. There have been times when you have 40, 45 people where first prize was probably close to $450. Plus, I know last year's final table broke down. I think first prize they split 1,000, so first prize got 700, second got 300. So you can make some pretty decent money in the events. I've always had absolutely atrocious showings in the events. I've played over the past 5 seasons, I believe, maybe 4 seasons, on and off. Usually I miss the first event, so I get a 0. Then I have to do really well the rest of the season to even score points because you get to drop your lowest score. At which point I usually have an okay showing the first event, meaning I get knocked out about 10 people in, so it wasn't great. And then after that, I get knocked out in second person out, and then I just stop showing up. So you definitely need to run well, and I never have. It's been a combination of just getting horribly unlucky, getting amazingly cold decked, as well as then not playing well, having some players that really are not the best, making some calls that really are not the best. But that's all poker. That's any kind of a big tournament. And 25, 35, 45 people really isn't even that big. So, well, really, it ain't big at all, to be quite honest. But it ended up, finally decided I was going to come back, try it again, mainly because I wanted to get some more time on the felt, and haven't had the bankroll to go and sit down and play a $150 buy-in out at the casino, so I figured this was a good way to get back on it. So, new thing for the 14th season is they're only running 3 tables, so you have to be one of only 30 people, and it's mainly because they're doing it at a different person's house, and 3 tables really fits well. So, figure that's easiest to do. So, it's kind of cool. A lot of people that have played in my tournament playing it, as well as a lot of people that I work with at Wells Fargo. So, it's got a cool setup. The blinds start off at $25.50, and you have $1,500 in chips, which always confuses me with how they do the chips. Just saying, work on that. It really isn't bad, but it just always confuses me when they run blue and green chips to mean the same common denomination of chips. It's kind of weird. But it's got a decent setup, at least for what I had ever seen, because I never lasted very long. Usually I would get knocked out before they ever combine any tables. So I was hopeful this season. I've been playing decent poker in my mind. I had been feeling pretty confident, and I had I didn't do very well monetarily at the World Series, but I felt I played well. So I sit down at a table with some players I played with before, some pretty solid players, to be quite honest. And over the first few rounds, I'm just playing some pretty solid poker. I think 2 hands in, I picked up ace-queen, flop to queen, ended up getting paid off pretty well. Didn't get paid off on the river, but still took down bets on the pre-flop, flop, and turn. So it was a decent pot. Couple hands later, made a standard button raise, took down the blinds. Couple hands after that, made a raise from late position. Got 2 callers, flop, bet it, got a caller, turn, bet it, took it down. So I was building up my stack decently well. Ran into some trouble. I had king deuce on the big blind. We checked it all the way down to the river when a king hit, and I made a small bet. got a call from somebody who had king 9, so lost that pot, and then had another one where I had ace 10, both hit an ace, and they had ace jack, so lost that pot. So again, not bad luck, not great, not horrible luck. I mean, I'm sorry, not great luck, but not horrible luck. This is kind of something that, happens in a poker tournament. Had another hand where I thankfully been building up my stack pretty well. Ended up having flop 2 pair and got counterfeited. Actually, no, I'm sorry. No, I didn't even get counterfeited. They rivered a better 2 pair, and that hand cost me a pretty good chunk. But thankfully, it had already been building up for a while, so I lost probably I probably lost about a 700 or 800 chip pot, and it only brought me, down to about even, maybe up 100, up 200 chips. So it was pretty decent. I've been playing decently well. I was pretty happy with it. Ended up picked up a couple hands against a couple people that there were a few players there that just weren't the strongest of players. You could tell pretty easily that you fire a continuation bet. If they call, they've got you. If they fold, obviously they didn't have anything. They weren't playing back very much. They weren't trying to be trappy. They weren't check raising. They weren't doing anything like that. It was very standard. So I was trying to get myself in pots with 2 or 3 of the players at my table. And it worked pretty well. I was able to pick up some decent pots off of them. I actually had one pot that worked out pretty well. I bet the flush draw, and then the flush draw came, and I was actually able to push somebody off of their top pair. Based on that, when I had deuce 7 or deuce 8 offsuit, I think the flush draw was clubs, and I had a heart and a diamond. I'm sorry, and I was able to push them off, and then I showed the bet as well, and that was a big pot. That was probably close to a 1,200 chip pot, because I fired on all 3 streets, and it paid off pretty well. So I was happy about that. Ended up knocked the person out, and then combined tables. And right after the break, because you can rebuy up to the break, and after the first break, people start dropping like flies. Because a lot of people tried to make moves to, lose their stack, to therefore double up, and either would win a small pot or would lose a pot, but against somebody else who was trying to go all in and had, less chips than them. So you had a lot of people who went into break with, probably anywhere from 600 chips to their starting stack of 1,500. And at that point, the blinds go to 100, 200, if I'm not mistaken. 25, 50, 50, 100, 75, 150. Yeah, 100, 200. No, actually 150, 300. So stacks dwindled up pretty quickly. I made a couple decent moves off the jump. Was able to build up decently, and then picked up pocket kings. And I was probably 1 off the button, maybe 2 off the button. Under the gun, made a small raise. 2 positions after that, pushed all in, but he didn't have that big of a stack. At this point, I had just under 5,000 chips. The person who made the initial bet had probably 2,500, maybe 3,000. The person who went all in had maybe 15, maybe. I had pocket kings, and I was sitting at about 5. So he pushes all in for his 1,500. We'll say it was 1,750. It was under 2,000. I'm almost positive of that. I repop it. I push all in because I'm trying to, I'm hoping this guy's sitting on ace king and he's drawing 3 cards. Actually, I'm really hoping, he's sitting on queens and he's drawing a 2. But I really felt like the guy who made the initial raise had an ace king, ace queen type of hand. And even though I probably could have just called, gotten him in there, and hope that an ace doesn't flop. If an ace does flop, I'm screwed. So I'm figuring I can push him out, assuming he's not going to make the call with a weak ace. Ends up he calls. So we got 2 people all in. I've got both of them covered. Turns out the guy who made the initial bet had ace king offsuit. The guy who pushed all in had pocket aces, and I'm sitting with pocket kings. All right. Action hand, right? So I'm drawing for the case king. I need that 1 king that's left in the deck. So flop comes up 10, 4, jack. All right, so ace is still leading. I'm still in second place. Ace king needs a queen really badly. Turn card hits another 10, so now the board's paired. Only card that's helping me at this point, only thing that I can get to save me is the case king. And, I've got the initial batter still calling for a queen to hit. Obviously, the guy with the ace is just chilling. And then I hit lightning in the bottle, and I pull the case king off. It just peels off. And so I end up taking both players out, and I end up with a huge stack. I was sitting probably just under 10,000, maybe at 10,000, but I would say probably like 92, 95-ish, I think. So I was sitting pretty well, and one of the chip leaders of the table. Ended up just kept making some really good moves, was playing well, honestly. I was playing good poker, and I didn't really make any mistakes. I did call somebody's all-in with an ace-10 when they had ace-king, so that ended up costing me a little bit. But for the most part, I was doing decently well. I wasn't crushing, you know. Once I got the chip lead, I wasn't bullying as much as I probably should have with the chip lead, but I was making some decent plays, playing more pots, you know, than usual once I got some chips. But overall, I felt like I was playing pretty well. So we end up, nothing really that exciting happens. I take out a player, I think with pocket eights. They pushed all in with like king queen. I made the call with pocket eights. It held up. Next time, I called with ace queen against pocket eights, hit an ace, so it held up. So I knocked out more than a few players. So we went into the final table. I actually took down a bad. I got taken down in a hand pretty close to going down to the final table, and ended up dropping to about 8,000 in chips, maybe a little bit less than that. So I definitely needed to make a couple moves going into the final table, but I was just happy to even get that far because it had never happened before. So we get into the final table, and people start dropping, you know, like usual. I make a couple decent plays. I actually had a really good hand with pocket trays that I bet all the way down, and ended up getting a call on the river. A guy called me with ace high, so that was kind of cool. Took a big pot with that. Had another pot where I flopped 3 of a kind kings. I had like a king 4, I think, or king 6, and flopped 2 kings. And that was a pretty solid hand. Guy ended up calling me off of a flush draw, I think, and I didn't get there. So he was calling me all the way down. I didn't get him to call me on the river, but still, it was a solid pot. So I was chipping up pretty well. Ended up working our way around. Nothing really that exciting happened. People just kind of got blinded to death. And then next thing I know, we're heads up. Now, I'm going to complain about blinds now. And usually I don't complain about tournaments that other people run. You know, if it's a casino tournament, I'll complain about that. But usually when other people run their own tournaments, I'm not going to complain. But this time I am. And I'm not usually one to complain about tournaments. I mean, I'm sorry, chip structure and stuff like that. But when it got down to heads up, I had 18,000 in chips, maybe 16,000. The player that I was up against had 24,000 in chips. And the blinds were 1,000, 2,000. So my M was 6. Her M was 8. That's ridiculous that you're heads up in a tournament and you're going to have, I had 6 or 8 big blinds. You know, come on. Like, that's not poker. That's what the WPT does. You get up these exorbitantly high levels of blinds, and the next thing you know, it's a shove fest. You aren't playing poker at that time. You're just shoving. And that's not fun. Like, you just played poker for, it was supposed to start at 7:30. It didn't start till about 8. And at this point, it was about probably 12:30. So, yeah, we've been playing for a good 4.5 hours. I get that. It's a long time. But we also were playing for, first prize was $230. Second was $150, I think, or $130. I mean, so it wasn't bad money. Plus, you're playing for that ultimate goal, which is to get to the finale. And I enjoy long tournaments. That's what real poker is. Poker is not a 20-minute sit and go. Yeah, you can make money doing that. Well, you used to be able to online, so much for that. But real poker is long tournaments, and that's exciting to me. So I'm already upset about that. Whatever. And I had the big blind to start. No, I'm sorry, I didn't. I didn't have the big blind to start. I could complain about that, but I really didn't. And I'm playing up against a pretty solid player. I played with her before. She was a pretty solid player. Her and I had gone head to head with a few different things, and she came out on top on one, and I came out on top on one. So it was we had a decent, you know, rapport going, a decent standing going. Very first hand, I pick up like a Jack 4, and I make it 4,000. She comes over the top, pushes me all in. I fold. So now I've got, 10,000 left. 4 or 5 hands go by, raise, fold, raise, fold, raise, fold. Whatever. We kind of go back and forth with some chips. I'm sitting at about 14,000. Pick up ace tray of diamonds. Now, any ace, heads up, solid hand, right? Okay. So I, again, double the blind, hoping just to take it down there, but I don't, so she calls. All right, I get 10,000, I got 10 grand behind. So flop comes up, 8-5-4. No, I'm sorry. 7-5-4. No, 8-7-5. Wow. I am out of it. I apologize. 8-7-5. So I end up shoving. Kind of a standard play there. I'm just trying to take down the blinds and, see what happens. All right, so ends up thinking about it for a minute. She thinks about it for a minute, thinks about it for a minute. And I'm figuring at this point I can take down this pot, take down the 8 grand that's in the middle. I've almost doubled my stack, which again, ridiculous that a min raise would double your stack that way in the tournament. Come on, guys. So he thinks about it for a minute, ends up calling me with Jack 6 offsuit. And I look at her and I say, why would you call that? She says, I have a gut shot. Yeah, that's what she said. Yeah, that was the answer. On a flop of 8-7-4, she has a 6. And she says, I have a straight draw. I'm sorry. That's what she said. She said, I have a straight draw, not I have a gut shot. So I look at her and I say, you have a gut shot straight draw. It's not like you have an open-ended straight draw. It's not like you're sitting on a Broadway draw or a straight flush draw or you have backdoor flush outs. You're sitting on a gut shot. There are 3 cards in the deck that will give you the win. As well as, at that point, she had the jacks and the 6s. But that wasn't known to her. So my thought process is, what was she putting me on? What is she putting me on that she's fine essentially betting her tournament? Because if she loses that hand to me, now I'm sitting at 20-something chips and she's under 15. What's she putting me on? That's what's crazy to me. Like, what were you willing to risk your entire tournament life on that you were feeling comfortable enough with the gut shot? At the end of the day, once she makes that call, it is about 55-45, maybe 60-40, because any jack, any 6, any 5 as well. So she's got 10 outs. So she had 10 outs. All I got to do is fade a couple cards. It's not even like I need outs. I just got to fade a couple cards. Sure enough, turn card, she hits a jack. So now I'm screaming for an ace. River card, she hits a 6, just really to rub it in my face. And I still was really kind of befuddled as to why you would call with a gut shot in that position. You know what I'm fine? I would have been okay if she would have called me pre-flop all in rather than that. Because that's so befuddling to me and so confusing as to, like, what did you put me on? So my only thought process is maybe it was one of those, fuck it calls, which don't flag this video. Technically, you can say the F word twice in a PG-13 video, so don't flag it. But maybe, maybe that's what it was. And everybody who's ever played poker knows you have those calls where the odds are long, you're tired, the tournament's been going on a while, and you're just like, you know what? See what happens. I could have understood that pre-flop. But at that point, you've got to put me on some type of hand. Even if you put me on a hand like I had, an ace tray, I'm still ahead. You've still got to draw out. And in my opinion, you never want to draw out for your entire tournament life. I'm fine going all in. I'm fine, having to catch a draw, but for your whole tournament life? Kind of ridiculous, in my opinion. But, again, my opinion. And I'm the one who got second place. So it was cool. We actually split the money pre-flop and then, before heads up and then played for the points. So I ended up making $150 on the night. I didn't have to rebuy, which is like the first time ever for that. So I ended up making $150 on the night. And it was a solid night of poker. I played well. I was happy with my play. And I scored 23 points, which isn't great. But if I can, follow it up with a couple more pretty good performances, I could have a chance for the championship. So it's going to definitely take some full tournaments because we only had 24 people this time. Well, I only got 23 points. So hopefully the next couple events will have 30 people, and I can have another final table or a couple deep runs in those. And who knows what happens. So maybe I can make it for that final table, or for the championship table. But overall, you know, it was a good tournament. I was happy with it. I was upset with the final play just because of how it ended, and just to get drawn out on like that. It was just a confusing play to me. Honestly, I have no problem with however anybody ever plays. Whether I think that was a dumb call or not, it's not the issue. I just don't understand it, I guess, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. But it is what it is. You know, that's life. Sometimes you got to fade those cards, and I couldn't fade them. So, overall, solid tournament. Pulled down to second place. It's actually my second straight second place. Granted, they've both been home games. But, you know, for playing poker twice since the World Series, pretty decent. So, once again, Matthew Mailer from MatthewMailer.com. Want to just do a quick recap video regarding my finish in Event 2 of Season 14 of the Arizona Poker Tour. So check it out. If you guys are interested in playing in the Arizona Poker Tour, send me an email. I'll get you guys the info. It's hosted over at 75th Avenue in Happy Valley, ish, and 67th Happy Valley, whatever. But it's a good setup. There's some pretty good players. There's some pretty not that great players. You've got a mix of people who are just there having fun with a group of people who actually are pretty interested in winning. So it's a good mix of people. And a good alternative to poker rooms or casino or any of that. So just want to give you guys, you know, a little recap, because I know people have been asking, where are the poker recap videos? So there you go. And I hope you liked the video. If you think I should have played that ace-3 differently, maybe not shoved, put a little fewer bet out there, let me know. Let me know what you think about the tournament structure. I personally think it's ridiculous having blinds that high, but it's just me. And of course, check out all the rest of my videos. I definitely appreciate all the love I've been getting, all the support. Much appreciated. I've been giving out my business cards to everybody, so I've been seeing some spikes in my views, as well as some people adding me on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, so thank you. And of course, add me as a friend, subscribe to my videos, like them, and send me a comment if you're up on YouTube. So always follow me on Twitter, at Matthew Mailey, and you can like me on Facebook, at Matthew Mailey Poker. Keep checking back MatthewMailey.com. That's where I'm getting all the videos up first and foremost, so keep checking back, and catch you on the next video. Peace out, y'all.